Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, just because a pretty young girl is a receptionist doesn't mean she's easy prey. They deserved it. Sure, I'll do your homework again. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Just because a pretty young girl is a receptionist doesn't mean she's easy prey. Several years ago I worked as a receptionist at a healthcare facility. They were doing some renovations and had standing weekly meetings with the fire marshal. After the first meeting, the marshal asked me to type up some notes. After clearing it with my manager, I started transcribing until he came and stood uncomfortably close behind me. I asked him several times to stand on the other side of my desk and he replied he wanted to make sure I didn't make a typing mistake. I quickly finished the transcription and handed it back to him. As he was reviewing it, he casually asked me on a date. I politely say, "I'm sorry, I have to decline." The dude was at least twice my age. The next day I came into work to see a note on my chair from my boss. It basically stated that while I looked nice, someone complained that they could see down my shirt. It was a knit sleeveless V-neck sweater and I was wearing a blazer over it. It was not low cut. The only way to see down my shirt is to stand directly over me, so I know who complained and why. I explained this to my boss. The next week, I wore a knit turtleneck and blazer with black pants. The fire marshal came in, met with my boss and again asked to transcribe report. While I was transcribing, he came to stand behind me once again and started rubbing my shoulders. I immediately jumped out of my chair and took several steps away. I told him loudly, "I do not want you to touch me. If you cannot stand on the other side of my desk, then I will not transcribe your notes." He then asked me out again and I told him no. I finished transcribing and then left my desk. The next day, I received another note, this time stating that I had acted unprofessionally, yelling at my desk and walking away when a guest needed my assistance. I again explained what happened to my manager and received no reaction. We get the inspection report back saying we failed. The third week, I wore a high-necked tunic and slacks, both being at least 3 sizes too big. When the marshal asked me to transcribe the notes, I simply said, "No, I have other work to do." Then he started badgering me about not going out with him. Did I think I was too good for him? I stated, "What part of no do you not understand? You are old enough to be my father and I am not interested." The next day, another note stating I was purposely being rude to a guest. When I talked to my manager, I asked her when was she going to do her job and offer me some protection against this predator. Again no response, but again the inspection failed. The fourth week when I saw the fire marshal coming, I simply left my desk and went on break. I didn't return until after he left. When I left work that day, the marshal was waiting by my car, so I caught a ride home with a coworker and came back later to pick up my car. You guessed it, I received another note complaining I had abandoned my post, and another failed inspection. I didn't bother reporting it to my manager, but I did call her manager. Week 5, I'm at my desk when the marshal comes towards me. I immediately buzz my manager and her boss and leave the speaker open. Fire marshal starts being aggressive, complaining how he waited for me after work and when was I going to go out with him. I say to him in as professional manner as I could muster that I did not appreciate him coming on to me, I was not interested in transcribing his reports, I was never going to go out with him and I wanted him to stop stalking me. He then told me he was going to get my address and meet me at my house. At this point, my manager and her boss come out of the office. The fire marshal is escorted out, a call was placed to his boss, he is never to come to our facility again. Later I heard he was dismissed over the incidents. My boss is written up for failing in her duty to protect her staff from a predator and she is transferred to a facility 100 miles away. They deserved it. About 6 years ago, I was an installer for a water softener company. At first the job was good. The pay was nice, and while it was an on-call job, the hours weren't all that bad. Once you were done with your installs, you went home. You got a week of sick and a week of vacation time per year, had a 401, and they covered a decent portion of the insurance. Not the greatest, but at least it was something. Well, fast forward a few years, and the owners got more and more greedy. Buying very expensive luxury cars and charging them to the company, taking family vacations on the company dime, and even taking company money to go gambling with. I know this because I was really good friends with the controller who did their books and taxes. After a while, they took away the vacation and sick time, stopped helping with insurance, and stopped matching the 401, because they didn't make enough to cover all that and blow the money on the luxury cars and vacations and gambling. Their excuse was that they were a small family company and couldn't keep doing it, but a few of us knew the truth. Next, they made us stay on call all day, every day, even after the installs were done, so they could ram in last-second installs at all crazy hours. Imagine showing up at a home at 8 p.m. to do a 3-hour install, on a school night, at a home that's 2 hours away, and they have no idea you're even coming, because the owners told the salesperson to just lie to them. So you get yelled at, told to leave, get home at 10 p.m., then have to be back at the office at 7 a.m., just to show back up at the same house again the following day. This happened constantly, and it got worse and worse. Then they started purposely cutting hours, so if you got stuck working 2 or 3 13-hour days, you'd then only work 3 to 4-hour days the rest of the week, so you got no OT, while some other unlucky sap got nailed with the time instead, only to get their hours cut the next few days. So on and so forth. A few other installers complained and were told basically, too bad, deal with it. People started quitting, and the owners actually just told people to pack their stuff and never come back, the day they turned in their 2-week notices. They were so petty, they made people who really needed the money go without paychecks for 2 weeks, when they were just doing the right thing by giving notice. I had enough and had the same conversation the others did, and sure enough, after 7 years of busting my ass for them, I was told, this is how we do things now. We're not changing it just for you, so if you don't like it, find a new job. Well, I immediately started looking, and after a few weeks, found a good job with a city municipality. I actually used the work truck to show up for the interview in between jobs. I gave 0 notice, and just turned all my stuff in that Friday night, after I got paid. When they asked me WTF was going on, I told them, I took your advice. They said, huh, what advice? I said, well, you told me to find a different job, so I did. Oh, and by the way, I showed up at the interview in your work vehicle, so thanks for paying for the gas to get me there. I also returned the truck on about 1/16 of a tank, just so they'd have to fill it up, and I didn't clean it at all. It was petty, yes, but it made me feel better, lol. Sure, I'll do your homework again. When I was 12, a popular girl in my class manipulated me into doing her homework. She told me she had to attend a funeral and couldn't complete her math homework on time. I sympathized with her and agreed to doing her homework that night. The next day, I passed her homework assignment to her and watched her hand it to the teacher. Later on in class, I overheard her conversation with someone else. I heard her say that she went to her cousin's birthday party last night and had a lot of fun. Of course, I was upset and felt betrayed. She came up to me after class and asked if I can do her homework again since she was still grieving over the loss of her family member. I told her I understood her situation and would do it for her again. When I got home, I only ended up doing my own homework. The next day, she came up to me asking for her homework. I told her I forgot to do hers, and seeing her angry expression was priceless. After that, she never asked me for another favor. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.